Hey guys, Rob from Georgia here with you, aka VHS A2 Apostrophe, with episode 26, I do believe. 26, something weird, just a thought, but a little more than a thought, although there will be a few in there as well. But this is a combination of some laundry or take care of some laundry. This is a movie hunt that I did yesterday. This is Father's Day. This is something else I got at the beginning of the summer. This is a few things, and then a few just random thoughts, I guess, as it pertains directly or indirectly to this garble. Hopefully it's more than garble. So first off, let's just take care of some laundry, which, by the way, I have some in my dryer, which I still got to tend to. But first off, just a few reminders or news alerts. BodyBags, the YouTube channel that I've been affiliated with for 3+ years now. I am working on what will, in effect, be review number 300 for the channel. And I might as well just, it's no big deal. I will be, it kind of happened accidentally, but I'm going to be reviewing Friday the 13th, part 7. I thought my 300 review was going to come after that, and I was starting to try to figure out what, in fact, I was going to do. But then I realized, as a result of something else, that no, in fact, Friday 7 was going to be number 300. So I decided, after some thought, to run with it. And one of the reasons was I've gotten to do a little bit of a deep dive with John Carl Buechler, the director, in the sense of, Fangoria has opened up an archive of old issues, and it's pretty easy to navigate. Very user-friendly, I might say. Anyway, stumbled upon an article. I can't remember what, I was going to say episode, what edition it was, but anyway, it's on John Carl Buechler and Friday 7. Fantastic. And the more I thought about the movie and my connection to that movie, my history with it, I thought, you know what? It's a good number 300. So number 300, that'll be coming here in the next couple weeks. Other things happening at BodyBags. We have a new collaborative effort in terms of within BodyBags, our current members. Podcast of sorts for YouTube. It's like a top 5 roundtable discussion of things. I think we've got 4 episodes up. Generally, it's just a top 5 of whatever it is that we happen to pick. Our next one, number 5, is going to be recorded on July 12th. It'll be dropped that weekend. And it is a Roger Corman produced films, top 5 roundtable discussion. Featuring a guest, Brad, Bronco Juggalo, who used to be on BodyBags some time back. Looking forward to that. Of course, affiliated with the Graveyard Shit podcast with both Glenn and Will. I do probably more with Glenn, but we do have one coming up on July 3rd, recording a Poltergeist show. And if you've never seen Poltergeist, the remake in black and white, you ought to challenge yourself with that, because how I look at that in particular movie is a whole lot different now that I've seen it in black and white. In fact, Glenn and I just recorded a black and white commentary on Poltergeist, the remake. I think it's 2015 film, is it? And unfortunately, it's probably going to take a while for that one to see the light of day, just because there's a stupid copyright claim. No images involved, but somehow the sound of the movie was just maybe a little tad too high, and it got onto the radar of those in control of such nonsense. It's just a pain in the rear end. So hopefully fair use thing will go our way, and we'll see that. But that was supposed to precede this podcast coming, and so that's unfortunate. But Poltergeist show will be coming. X-Files season 3. I am, for those of you who don't know, maybe, I think I'm next is episode 7, The Walk. So I've got the X-Files going on. Remember, I had covered both seasons of Space 1999. That's down there, as well as a lot of other things in the archive, as they say. Tonight I plan on dropping, I'm going to do another H.P. Lovecraft reading, this time The Doom That Came to Sarnath, as well as I think his poem, The Nightmare Lake. But I'll probably schedule that to drop much later tonight. So I guess that's it for laundry. There is a little bit of an add into that, but I'll leave that for the haul. Because it's connected with something in there. So anyways, let's just start off with the poster. I think I got this at the beginning of the summer. I have not taken it out yet, mainly because it's a 54 by 36. Yeah, this is what a 54 by 36. Anyways, it is the great day of his wrath. Get the artist. Should have wrote it down. Darn it. It's funny how you forget things. But I am going to drop a pic of what the poster looks like in this video. So even as I talk right now, you're seeing the pic probably off to the side or something. So that's pretty cool. It is a gorgeous poster. Amazing, amazing poster. Okay, movie hunt. Went on a movie hunt last night. So first thing, I've been looking for this for absolutely ever. It is a particular release of this film you see behind me. Thought I would just get into the mood. We'll start off there. This was an epic find. Now, for some of you out there, it may not be that much of an epic, but you know, film is subjective. As Moods always used to say in the old days. He still may say it. I hope he does. But I came across the 3-disc collector's edition of Halloween, Rob Zombie's Halloween. Now, why I've been chasing after this for the longest time, mostly is because of the 3rd disc, and that is the epic 4.5-hour making of, and you might be able to get this on some Blu-ray edition, which I don't have. I mean, I have this film in a lot of editions, but that documentary has always eluded me. So, but this is a funny story. So, you know, I see this on the shelf. I cannot believe this at Second and Charles. And I swipe it, right? And so I go to open it, and I notice right off the bat, where's the movie? If you flip, it's supposed to be 3 discs, right? We got the supplemental and the awesome documentary that's on there. But no feature film. Which at the end of the day is not a big deal for me because I've got it like on multiple editions, releases. But it hit me. This was, they wanted $6 for this bad boy. And I thought, well, that's reasonable, as badly as I wanted that documentary. But I thought, wait a minute, this is a beautiful opportunity. I may get this cheaper. So made my case to the manager, and I got it for $3. Now, that's awesome because I'll probably retire this one. I'll just, you know, pull out the film and put it in this release. So it's a complete set again. The supplemental is just a duplicate of what I have in the new edition. And I'll probably just pull my ticket from when I saw the movie in the theater and put it in here. And for $3, it's a pretty nice upgrade. Just got to move one disc to another, and at the end of the day, it's not a big deal. It disrupts continuity a little bit, only because I also have the theatrical edition, but the bindings are close enough, so not really losing anything. I'll just take the one out and put the new one in. But I got that documentary, 4.5 hours. And look for that BodyBags review. I'll be doing that one for sure. I've always wanted to see that. So that was a huge find. And I got it discounted, half off, just because some shoplifter stole the theatrical film. Probably threw it in his pocket and walked out the door. So whoever did that, thank you, I guess. Another one, I think that was the only one at Second and Charles, and we went up the road to CD Warehouse, and I found a couple that for somehow never have made it into my collection. Just a couple. The original Pet Cemetery. I was looking for this. I think I just recently watched Bloodlines with David Duchovny, the Pet Cemetery Bloodlines. That was a pretty good movie for what it is, for what it is. But I was encouraged to revisit the original Mary Lambert film, which is in its own story. I'm old enough to remember when the news broke in Fangoria that George A. Romero was, they were hoping he was going to do Pet Sematary. But apparently his love for Monkey Shines was too much, didn't want to leave the project, so it fell into Mary Lambert. And as a punk kid in high school at the time, all I knew her from was some Madonna videos. And I'm like, this is the person who's going to handle a Stephen King novel that should be in the hands of George A. Romero. I have to say, Mary Lambert did a pretty freaking good job. So my head is off to Mary Lambert. She made a punk teenage high school kid very, very, very happy because the end product, I was pretty impressed with what she did. So I don't know what this would have been in Stephen King's, George A. Romero's hands. But you know what? She did such a fine job. I don't think about that much anymore. So that's pretty cool. So the original Pet Sematary finally in my collection. Another one that I don't know how this does not ever get into my collection. The original Poseidon Adventure. In fact, fell asleep to it last night. Now, you say fell asleep. You get to my age, there are a lot of movies comfort food movies you just put in, and you're going to fall asleep. Nothing against the film itself, but this has got to be one of the greatest New Year's Eve disaster films ever. Gene Hackman, Ernest Borgnine, Shelley Winters is it. Just a whole bunch of freaking people in this. Red Buttons. Yeah, this is epic, man. Roddy McDowall, I forgot he was in that. Freaking epic, man. And music by John Williams. I'm just looking at the back of it. I had no idea. That's John Williams' music. So there you go. Look at that. Wow. That's pretty freaking cool. Leslie Nielsen, he's the captain of the ship, if you remember. Freaking awesome, man. I hate the remake. That will never be in my collection. But the original Poseidon Adventure, one of the greatest disaster films ever. And it was funny, I was listening to the guy talk, the manager at CD Warehouse was talking to a customer and mentioned that DVDs are just hot right now. I mean, they are really hot. And that's good because generally speaking, like I picked up the Poseidon Adventure for only $1.99, still had the insert. But for $2, man, for a classic film. And then I think Stephen King's Pet Sematary was only, $3. And I told you, I hate it when that happens. I told you that Halloween, well, that was a second in Charles. That was cut from 6 to 3 as a result of the missing theatrical film, which is fine with me for obvious reasons. The last thing I got wasn't a big haul or anything. My littlest Max was with me, and so he picked up a PS4 racing game for like $5, and comic book. But I was just thinking it was a variant of Suicide Squad, Justice Suicide maybe as well. I don't. Anyway, so got him a couple things, but the one other thing that I picked up is Dune Part 2 on 4K, $18. Could have got the Blu-ray for $16, but my wife was kind. It didn't matter to eat. I mean, I got Dune Part 1 on Blu-ray, so, it would have gone together on the shelf. But this will go in my small but growing 4K collection. I have not seen Part 2 yet. I've seen Part 1 a couple times. We just revisited it the other day. Just a phenomenal film. At a time when Kathleen Kennedy, her continued destruction of Star Wars seems to know no bounds. It's nice that we had Dune fall into our lap. For those of us who remember seeing Star Wars as an 8-year-old, at the drive-in, and then standing in line as a 10-year-old for Empire and a 13-year-old for Return of the Jedi. That's my trilogy, man. That's my trilogy. The George Lucas prequels, our next, on the ladder. Um, but anything and everything, I may make an exception for Rogue One. Although, no, I was thinking Rogue One, not Rogue One, but that's good. I like Rogue One. Solo, hated that Ron Howard didn't get his trilogy out of there. Just the idea of Darth Maul and being charged in the Syndicate and all that junk. That might have been fun to see. But anything and everything else Kathleen Kennedy's had her hands on, of late, the Acolyte, it's a nice gift to those of us old enough and younger to receive such a precious gift as Frank Herbert's incredible theatrical vision of his written word to the screen in the form of Dune Part 1, Part 2. And I'm speaking highly of Part 2. I haven't even seen it, but I trust in the word that I've been given. I know some even think this is better than the Part 1. We will see. Love Part 1. And then now the announcement that Dune Messiah. Recently read an essay, can't think of the author's name now. It's about an 8-9 page essay on it. And I just became so engaged with the concept of Dune. Really didn't know much about Dune. Tried to watch the movie from the 80s. I think it was in the 80s. It just never hit me. I never got engaged with it. In fact, I let my feet drag on Part 1, the latest incarnation, for the longest time before I finally watched it on Max. But now without Max, we since got rid of like 3 of our platforms. We had to wait until we could get our hands on a physical media release. And so we're finally going to see it for the first time Friday, I think. This is dropping today, and it's Tuesday. So probably Friday we'll watch it together as a family. Very, very, very much looking forward to it. But that essay, man, was so stinking intriguing in terms of just the philosophy, just the story, the imagination of Frank Herbert. Just amazing. So at a time like this, when Star Wars fans are probably sheltering themselves in caves and grounds, in the ground, not knowing what to do, it's a gift that we got something as precious as this to enjoy, right? So that was my movie hunt. Not terribly huge. But I also wanted to include my Father's Day gift from my son, Sam. I don't think I ever did a Father's Day, and I should have, but I never did a Father's Day vid. And so I wanted to include this for obvious reasons, but also for another reason. But that is The Walking Dead, the complete series, 1 through 11. Now, funny story about this is I bailed like after season 3, whenever it was that Darabont left the project. I don't know, man. I just got not discouraged, but I just kind of got worn out on it. And I'm not sure why, because the work at K&B in this over the 11 seasons and everything else I've done is just absolutely mind-bending. But it's actually better. It's a little bit better organized than my X-Files complete season. That one you got to kind of undig like 3 or 4 discs in a certain section. This one's laid out like by 2s. So actually works out much better. You're only grabbing at 2 discs. A lot better job. But like I said, I bailed after season 3. And I might have hit sporadically a few episodes here and there, but nothing really to write home about. But I have decided, sort of prepping it right now. My hope is by mid-July or earlier, I'm going to start a deep dive on this, like I've done Space 1999, the X-Files I'm working on. And so just working on a few details related to that. I want to get it started off well, and like I said, just stick with it and ride it through. So unlike the X-Files, this will be more like Space 1999, even though I saw most of Space 99 growing up as a kid, had the toys and had all that junk. I always use the word junk, but I always mean it in the most positive way. Um, X-Files is more of a revisiting of something very near and dear to my heart. Um, Probably the only show I've ever seen from episode one, season one, through its entirety as it unfolded on TV, with the exception of the moments when I had to go to the field because I was in the Army at the time. Um, but this will mark an interesting deep dive in that the first few seasons are pretty familiar to me. The storyline, vague, less vague or more vague, depending on where you're at in the arc. But I'm looking really forward to just doing a real deep dive. And if you've seen my X-Files, if you've seen my Space 1999, I take it pretty serious. Doing something like this is not a joke to me. And albeit my level of insight and into the work may not be quite as deep as, say, others who have done similar things, I do pride myself on my level of zeal to explore and look at things. And of course, my approach is obviously always going to be a little bit different than someone else's because, we're all different and we all key on different things, different elements, certain things that stand out to us. And so throughout the world of Walking Dead, you can pretty much guarantee that K&B will be at the forefront. Writing, I'll always look at writing. I always look at the directors involved, some of the guest appearances, notable guest appearances throughout the years in The Walking Dead. But I'm looking forward to it. So I feel like I got something so precious in this. I can't let it go to waste. So it's almost I almost feel like I'm indebted to doing it, but I'm looking forward to it at the same time. The X-Files has just been an absolute joy. Season 3 in now, if you haven't taken notice, that has just been an absolute blast. And it just seems like with every episode, it just becomes more and more fun. And that's the way it ought to be, right? It ought to be like that. One last thing I'll just mention, and I've just noticed the time and going a little bit more than I thought I would, but hopefully you've stayed in and with. Recently saw the In a Violent Nature on the big screen, and that was pretty good. I had a lot of fun with that. It's like me and Jason were talking about this the other day. It's either or, man. That's the world we live in, either or. People either love something or they hate something. And if they hate it, man, social media just allows for the mob to just gang up on things like never quite existed before. I mean, when I was a kid, the most that you could have outside of your own circle of friends was the postal zone in Fangoria. When people would send in their letters, their quick little snipes at things. Like I just read one from an old Fangoria episode the other day, or issue, where someone was actually going after demons, Lamberto Bava's demons. And that just seems crazy to me. That movie is so classic. But so that sort of inspired me to kind of like, when I have the time, look. And as I said, I think earlier in this video, Fangoria has opened up an archive, digital archive, very user-friendly. And you can have a lot of fun just going through and looking at old, I just want to say episodes, old issues, without I do have a few stacks of these old magazines, nowhere near, how many they actually published. So this opening up this archive is really cool to me. So yeah, there you go, man. Some laundry taken out, some things coming up. My movie hunts, finally grabbing that documentary, a 4.5-hour documentary that eluded me for so long. Finally getting to see part 2 this week. So awesome, man. And this Walking Dead, looking forward to that. I don't think there was anything else. So we'll try to get this under 25. If you watch the whole thing, I appreciate it. Again, remember, the doom that came to Sarnath. I'm going to do that later today, but drop it for probably midnight or something. Let this video get a little airtime before I drop something else right after, but there's that. As always, man, we end these things off with Go Bills.
This is not a dream, not a might be useful to you.